it's Natasha and thank you so much for joining me today. In this video, I'm going to be doing something that I've wanted to do for a really long time. Now, for Christmas, I don't often get myself anything. I'm not a big on presents. We like doing lots of experiences and things with our children, but I did choose to get myself something this year, and it is the Altenew Metallic Watercolor set. Now, this has 14 colors. It comes with a Altenew water brush down the middle. I feel like I did research forever on the types that I wanted to get, the colors that it included, different sets, different prices, all sorts of different things. And honestly, Lindsay from the Frugal Crafter, she did a review of this watercolor set and she loved it. I will put a link to that video in the description box below in case you want to check out her review of them. But I have some stamps here that I thought might work well. We ended up going with the 5 Daisies one, but I also thought of the Floral Wonder and the Garden Spray and Passion Flower. Those were the other Woodware stamps that I just showed on screen that I considered using for today. Now, using the Paper Boutique gift tag stamp set, I quickly threw this on. You know when you get a new product and you just want to try it out? Well, I stamped and embossed the bows in gold, and then I really threw some watercolor on and thought it looked fabulous on the black. So I wanted to do colored metallic watercoloring on black cardstock and see if I could create sort of a bright and cheerful card nonetheless, even though it was on black cardstock. So I'm going to line up the stamp. Now, I'm actually going to line it up on some white cardstock because I find that a whole lot easier to see where I'm positioning my stamp and see what parts of the stamp I'm getting in all the different places. So I tried it out in a couple of different spots and I like up the top left hand corner the best. So once I have the stamp in my stamping platform, I'm going to pop the black piece in there, and then I'm using my anti-static powder bag to make sure I go over it, and I'm going to use some VersaMark sticky embossing ink. This is my favorite embossing ink. I've tried many of them, and this one is worth investing in. This is a really good quality. It lasts a really long time, and I suggest getting the re-inker as well in time, and that way it will last even longer. I'm going to stamp this down onto the cardstock, and I use a sticky mat in my stamping platforms these days. You can either use a sticky mat, which I have a link for down below, or you can use the sticky grid sheets from Sizzix. I also use those. I have 2 of these stamping platforms, and both of them, I have one of each sticky mat and a sticky grid in either of them, and they both work fabulous. I even have a video where I show you how I cut them down and pop them into my stamping platforms. I will link that down below. If I forget to link any of these things, then just let me know, remind me in the comment section, and I will find them for you. Then I have popped some gold embossing powder on this. I am going to heat set it, and then this is really my first couple of plays with these watercolors, so I imagine they can do a whole lot more than what I'm ever going to show you today. I'll just interrupt that thought by saying that I didn't like that little gap there on the corner, so I'm just going to quickly take the stamp and add a tiny little bit more in the corner just so it looks like it's completely filled up and that doesn't look like kind of an empty corner, and that way the stamp looks a little bit more complete. But anyhow, as I say, I just do my best with card making. This is just my ability level, and so I'm sure if you look on YouTube there are hundreds of videos using the Altenew metallic watercolor set, or if you have any metallic watercolors, these are going to work fabulous. So there are lots and lots of videos out there. I just kind of did my own research and found what was going to work for me, found the set that I thought had the right colors, the right golds, what I wanted to use it for, and I just waited till there was a sale on, and then I purchased it for myself for Christmas. So this was my treat, and I'm really excited. I don't have a big craft space, and so the things in it need to be something that is going to have lots of different uses. And when it comes to supplies in card making and crafting in general, they can be really expensive, and there is kind of a never-ending supply. There are releases all the time. So I like to be really choosy about what I bring into my craft space and what I choose to invest in. So you have to kind of do your own research, and this is just what I've chosen to go with. So by no way am I saying that one is better than the other. This is just what I ended up for me, and I've done a few more cards since, and I am loving this set. I'm loving that it has colors. I'm loving that it has a couple of different golds. I'm loving that they are so metallic, so sparkly, when that's what I am after. It's a really, so far so good for me. Now I'm doing nothing but basic watercoloring. All I'm doing is putting the color down into the little stamp here, and of course the little embossed walls mean that all of the ink is going to stay exactly, all of the paint is going to stay exactly where I put it, so I don't have to worry about doing things next to each other. I decided to do a blue and a purple. I don't really know why, that was just what I was feeling at the time. I thought I might do a whole big colourful bunch, but then at the time I just decided to stick with blues and purple. So yeah, I'm just using a little paintbrush. You could definitely use a water brush, that would work well as also. And I just used a little pipette to pop some water into each one before I begin, and that way they were really easy to pick up lots and lots of the colour. Then just to soften the background a little bit, I am going to add some gold splashes. This is something I like doing, and as I said, this was me kind of trying out the watercolors, so I'm using that really fine paintbrush, and the finer the paintbrush, the smaller the splatters are going to be, and that's what I wanted. I didn't want big gigantic blobs, just wanted those little fine ones, which is what I was going for today. So then I need to work on the next couple of pieces. So I wanted a sentiment, but I kind of want it all to match, and I didn't just want white cardstock. So I'm going to take this kind of white pearl looking color here at the end, and then for no rhyme or reason I used a water brush rather than a paintbrush. It was probably what was sitting on my desk. I'm just taking a piece, this isn't even watercolor cardstock, I'm just going to cover this in some of the pearl, and this is what I'm going to do the die cutting out of. So I did just pop this on, I heat dried this with my heat gun. Probably it is going to dry nicer if you let it dry naturally, but I don't have that luxury of time all the time, so this is going to work perfectly fine for me. And then I have the Thank You Scrapbook.com word die set here. This is one of my favorites, the thank and the you. I really like the script, I like the font, I like that it's easy to read, and I like the size. So I'm going to pop this out. I did decide just to bring this off the page a little bit. I was going to die cut out a few of these and stack them up. I did think about doing a shadow behind it, but I think the card was already busy enough. So I just went with a little bit of dimension instead. Now for the black cardstock, I just used the Lawn Fawn, I think it's called Licorice black cardstock. I do not use any watercolor black cardstock. I don't even have any. I'm sure that would work really well, but honestly I did not notice any warping. There was nothing like that with the amount of water that I was using, which wasn't an incredible amount, but it also did cover up, probably a third or so of the card. So I was really pleased with how that stood up. It is a heavy cardstock, the Lawn Fawn black one, and that's why I like using it. But yeah, it stood up perfectly fine. So I am going to add a little bit of the matte medium, the Ranger Multi-Medium in the matte finish. That's what's inside these glue bottles, and I do that myself. I also have a video on my channel called How to Fill a Glue Bottle, and that will show you how you can easily pop it into these little bottles. That way I've never ever had these clog, not once, and that's why I've used them for years. And I love that the glue dries completely matte. Even if it squishes out the sides, there is no shine, no sheen, nothing that you are going to see. So it dries completely matte, and it is very strong. So once I have trimmed down my panel just a little bit and pop this down onto a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch card base, and I already really like that really strong white border, and I think it's going to go nicely with the thank you sentiment that we have got there for the front as well. I worked out a couple of different ways I thought I might like it. I was kind of just having a little bit of a play around, but I like it down in that corner, and so I just used the matte medium glue again to pop this down. And any sentiment is going to work here. You could have a pre-printed sentiment, you could have a thank you, congratulations, anything is going to work for this kind of style of card. And of course you could put any stamp onto the black cardstock, just whatever you have in your stash. I was tempted to use all of those ones that I showed at the beginning of this video. That's why I love those versatile stamps. These are some of my favorite, the Woodware collection stamps. I have those in my stash and I use them time and time again. In fact, I would hate to even count up the amount of videos on my channel that I have used those stamps in, but they are well worth it, and they have a really nice low price point for being such a big stamp, which I appreciate. So that is my card all finished for today. It's really hard to show the black metallic. It doesn't quite show up as well on camera, but that's okay. You get the gist of what we have created. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I really look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thank you so much for being here with me. Bye.